If your baby is favoring one side, you've probably been told it's just a tight muscle. Stretch it out, do a little tummy time, and wait it out. But the thing that most pediatricians aren't telling you is that torticollis isn't just about tight muscles. Now, I see this pattern week after week in my practice. A mom comes in exhausted. She's holding a baby who cries during every diaper change, struggles to nurse on both sides, and really can't get comfortable regardless of what position they're trying to be set in. The pediatrician has noticed this and the head tilt at like the 2 month checkup. But they were sent home with stretches and exercises, but it makes the baby scream. Or even worse, they're told that they're going to grow out of it. No big deal, just watch and wait. Now, these stretches may not be working because tight muscles are not the root cause. You have to focus on what's causing these tight muscles. And that's exactly what the stretching doesn't really touch base on, is that the cause of this is interference in your baby's nervous system. And it's affecting far more than just their neck. Now, for those who are new to my channel, a subluxation is a stress or an interference in the nervous system. Those nerves control every muscle in the body. So this is impacting things more than just the neck. It's going to affect the eating or sleeping or drainage of fluid from the ears, and it can even cause issues with developmental milestones in the future. Now today you're going to discover why torticollis is actually a neurological problem and not just a muscular one. You're going to learn how birth trauma creates these subluxation patterns that cause torticollis, and why traditional stretching often makes babies more uncomfortable without addressing the nervous system first, and that's going to make all the difference. You're going to understand this connection between torticollis and other issues like ear infections or reflux and even developmental delays. I'd like to start though with a practice member named Nathan. His mom brought him in after a very traumatic and emergency C-section that left him with torticollis. He had plagiocephaly, digestive issues, and eczema covering all over his face. He was locked up from his neck all the way down to his lower back, and these tight muscles were causing the ears to be misaligned, which led to repeated ear infections starting at just a few months old, and that's a lot of antibiotics for a little kid. Now, Nathan's occupational therapy wasn't really helping. He had even been fitted for one of those helmets to help correct the flat spot on the back of his head, but it was still looking like he was miserable. He was uncomfortable all the time, and when he came to the practice, you could just tell this wasn't a happy baby. Now, he couldn't hit his milestones because the entire nervous system was stuck in overdrive. Now, within the first few months of neurologically focused chiropractic care, we saw amazing changes. And in the first month, the digestive issues and eczema, they cleared up completely. By month 2, everything started to change. He was sitting up, he was crawling, he was pulling himself up to stand, and he hadn't had an ear infection since he started care. So a major celebration. Torticollis is a neurological problem. It is not just about tight muscles. So when doctors diagnose torticollis, they're looking at the obvious sign. Your baby head tilts to one side and their chin points to the other side. Now, they see the tight muscles right here in the neck, and it limits the range of motion, which are absolutely present. But what they're missing is what's happening underneath. Muscles in an infant don't tighten up for no reason. And yes, they do limit mobility, but there's an underlying cause. Now, torticollis happens because of subluxation, this interference in the nervous system, and it has 3 parts. Misalignment of the spinal bones, fixation where the spine can't properly move, and neurological interference where the nervous system gets stuck, sending stress signals instead of calm, coordinated ones. Think of it like a computer, where if there's too many tabs open, when your baby's nervous system is overwhelmed, the stress signals from that subluxation cause interference in everything, and it causes the body to crash and slow down. Now, their body can't coordinate properly, so the muscles stay tight and they stay in fight or flight mode. So it's a double whammy package for this little baby, and that's why you see symptoms in different areas. Now, everyone asks, what causes this? Drum roll, it's birth trauma, and that's the number 1 cause from what I see in practice. The amount of pulling, twisting, and pressure that's placed on a baby's head and neck during the birth interventions is massive and significant. Forceps deliveries, vacuum extractions, and even C-sections can create these subluxations in the upper cervical spine, up in the top of the neck. Now add that to a difficult positioning in the womb. or getting stuck in the birth canal, or a really long labor. You've got what we call a perfect storm. It's all these different stressors that add up to a few things. Now, these layers of stress compound on one another, and the result is in the nervous system that it can no longer regulate the body properly. So we start to see dysfunction and communication, which then presents in symptoms and diagnostic expressions. Now, these stretches don't work to resolve the problem. So physical therapy stretches will work on the muscles, but they don't address the subluxation that creates the tension in the first place. It's like trying to push a car with the parking brake on. It's really hard to get movement. Many parents tell us that stretches make their babies cry more, and it seems that the things are getting worse. And that's because when the nervous system is stuck in stress mode, any additional discomfort just adds more tension. The body fights back instead of relaxing and regulating. So when the nervous system is overregulated, we first have to identify the subluxation pattern first, and that's where we use gentle chiropractic adjustments. The nervous system can finally calm down, and when the stretches then are used and the positioning of the exercises are used properly, now the parking brake is off, so the body starts to heal appropriately. So it's more about the order of this versus the one area of muscles versus nerves. Now, there are some hidden consequences, though, of this unresolved torticollis. And unresolved means that you're not identifying the neurological pattern. So what happens is that torticollis isn't fully resolved at the neurological level, and it doesn't just go away with time. You may see resolution with like those tight muscles, but the underlying problem is still there, and it's going to continue to show up in life, and it'll manifest in different presentations because the nervous system controls every other system of the body. So it's going to create dysregulation in other systems of the body, organs, muscles, and glands. Now, that subluxation can contribute to ear infections because that tight neck muscles affect the eustachian tube drainage, and it can lead to respiratory infections like croup and RSV because the body can't move mucus and secretions properly. Now, that foundation was never stable because of the initial stress. So development gets harder at every stage. And then we added all the extra stressors in life, and that's how we see these issues. So if your baby has torticollis, you don't have to choose between painful stretches and just waiting it out. There's a very gentle, effective path forward by addressing the root cause. Now, the approach that we use in the practice here is by starting with an advanced insight scans. And these scans help to identify where the subluxation is present and how severe it is. We then use very safe, very gentle adjustments that help to release tension and restore balance in your baby's nervous system. Parents often see changes within a few visits, and we start to correct the problem within a few months. Sometimes our little ones just get stuck in the stress mode, and when we ease the nervous system tension, everything can start to re-regulate and shift back into its normal alignment. So click on the link in our bio, send us a DM, or schedule an appointment directly with me, Dr. Tim Nickel, here at Maximize Chiropractic located in Sacramento. Let's help your baby get unstuck and start to thrive.